Hello and welcome to my boxing tier list for the heavyweight division. I've made a fair few notes on this. I was going to mention all the records, but some of the records differed online, so I was a bit like, it's not good. Obviously, I know some of these fighters anyway, but obviously I don't memorize their records, of course. So, first on the list, Luis Ortiz. I personally think he could pull a possible upset against some of these other higher up boxers, only because of his experience, and I know for a fact he's known for his power and counter punching. But what makes him very awkward is that he is a southpaw, and he does have quite a padded record with I think he's 30 odd wins and like 27 of them I think it was by KO. So that is very impressive, to be honest. So I wouldn't sleep on him. He's getting older, but I still wouldn't sleep on him. AJ recently lost in a decision against Usyk. He's a big builded guy. He's got the power. He's got the athleticism. He should really be a wrecking ball in this division. He's got all of the things going for him. He's got 24 wins, I believe, 2 losses, one to his the upset loss against Andy Ruiz, and obviously Usyk now. I personally don't think AJ has been the same since his loss to Andy Ruiz. I believe now he's far more hesitant to properly engage because he seems to just not want to get involved in a fight. He tends to try and, in his most recent fight, he tried to outbox Usyk, which would just not have gone well because the skill he should have lent on him. He should have used his power and his size advantage. He shouldn't have tried to outbox Usyk because Usyk would just run circles around him, and this is exactly what happened. I still think he's a contender to be a possible champ again. He could maybe beat Usyk, but I'm not too sure. Usyk is extremely skillful and is just so experienced in it. Let's face it. So he could go either way, but still, I believe he's a top heavyweight boxer. Still, at least in the top 4, at least. I think. And he's obviously got the power, he's got the size, he's got all the skill set to actually become champ again. So only time will tell. Alexander Povetkin. Ooh, I'm going to put in possible upset because he did beat a very skillful heavyweight in Dillian Whyte. Ooh, I'm not sure. I'm not too sure because I don't think he would beat Ortiz. I'll put him in contender. I feel like I know Dillian Whyte was beating him in their fight, and I think he got caught flush with a shot. So I'm not sure. I think he just got really unlucky. He is 42. He is very dangerous. He's got lots of fights on his record. He's got at least 30, I think he had 30 odd wins as well. He's a veteran in the game, that's for sure. So he's very dangerous, but I don't think he could beat Ortiz. And I feel and obviously Whyte beat him more convincingly in their rematch. So I'll have to put him in contender for now. But obviously he could possibly beat anyone the tier above him, but I don't think he would beat anyone in dangerous or above, to be honest, just because I'm not too sure. Bar sitters. I'm gonna put Chisora in a bar sitter because he's not bad. I personally think Chisora fared better against Usyk than AJ did, just because Chisora is also a veteran, and I believe his tactic is just constant pressure because he constantly walked down Usyk in their fight and used his weight, his size difference to make sure Usyk was constantly on his toes, constantly moving away from him. Because he had power, obviously, but he's just older now. I don't think he's going to win any titles or anything like that at this point in his career, but you definitely have to beat Chisora to get your name out there. And sadly, I believe that's kind of what he's kind of become in the division now. But he's still a great boxer, a very skillful boxer. I wouldn't write him off. If you're underestimating him, you get beaten. Tyson Fury, champ of the division. He's literally 6'9", He's absolutely massive. He's like 19 stone, I think. He had a great bout with Wilder recently. Probably one of the best bouts I've seen, to be honest. It was far better than Usyk versus Joshua in terms of entertainment, anyway. It definitely was. He's undefeated. That's all I'll say. 30, I think it's 32 wins. I think so. I'm not 100% sure. And he's got one draw against Wilder, but let's face it, he's probably the most hype round them in the division at the moment. Right, Joe Joyce. I think I want to put him in. I'm not too sure. I'm going to put him in contender. I think he needs to prove himself a bit more, and he is actually getting on a bit now. I think he's in his late 30s. So I don't know. He's going to have to show some more. He's known for his power. I know that for a fact, but we'll just have to see. Wallin, I think he's called. I personally think he's also a contender. These aren't in order, by the way. Like, I'm not too sure who would win. I'm going to put Alexander only because of his experience ahead of them. But there's obviously, they'll have to fight for me to obviously say that. Joseph Parker is actually one of my more favourite boxers in the division. He was undefeated before AJ, I believe, before AJ took his belt off him. Well, when he was on his mass collection of belts. Like, I think he's on 27 wins. You cannot sleep on Joseph Parker. That's just a fact. He took AJ all the way to the last rounds. Like, by decision, it had to be beat. He had to lose by decision. He didn't even get KO'd or by someone of a decent size bigger than him. Pulev, who is now retired, I believe he's in the same category as Chisora, only because I don't know. I just didn't seem I wasn't very impressed with his fight against Joshua, and this is a Joshua who I think is worse than I think. I think he's worse Joshua when he fought Pulev than the first fight he fought Ruiz. I'd definitely say Joshua when he fought Parker would beat Pulev easier than he beat him last time, but I'm just not sure. He's obviously a tough opponent, like Pulev, a veteran. He's not really I don't think he has many KO victories. Obviously, it's not all about KO power. It certainly helps, but he's definitely skillful, but I just don't think he's on the level of... I think all the contenders at the moment would probably beat him. And I don't know about Chisora. I don't know if Chisora would beat him or not, but I just don't think he can... I think he just got lucky's not the word. He definitely earned his spot to fight Joshua, but it was for one of the belts, so it was kind of a solid bar setter. He's not none of these people are bad in any shape or form. Andy Ruiz, definitely well known for his upset against Joshua. Joshua just completely underestimated him. He just came in, thought this big fat guy is not going to do much, he's just going to be slow. Andy Ruiz has some of the fastest hands in the heavyweight division. He's just lethal, and he's big. He was bigger than Joshua in weight, I believe. If he did not put more weight on, I think he came into the first fight against Joshua at about 18 stone. But he put on 20, he was on 20 stone when he fought Joshua the second time. So Joshua managed to just use his speed and mobility just to get away from him and his height, and just boxed his head off and didn't engage with him properly. So you can't sleep on Ruiz. If Ruiz is fast on the day, good luck really, because he is extremely dangerous. He's got power, he's got hand speed, and for his size, he's got a lot of athleticism. He's extremely he's got a lot of stamina. Extremely durable person. Usyk, the current champion who beat Joshua in, some say, an upset, but I'm not sure. His amateur career was extensive. He was unified cruiserweight champion. 18 wins in pro, I believe, no losses. It's arguably he is the most skilled pound for pound fighter on this list. People are going to say Fury, but I feel like Fury's size just makes it look more impressive. I'm not saying Usyk is miles ahead of Fury in just skill, but I don't know. I feel like Fury would beat Usyk only because the size comparison is so much more profound than it would be against Joshua versus Usyk. So he's amazing, Usyk. Like, he's definitely one of the top heavyweights. Just ask Joshua, to be honest. Dillian Whyte, dangerous. Dillian Whyte is known as a bit of a menace. He's known as Dylan the Villain. I think he has 27 wins. Apologies if that's wrong. This is what these sources have been saying. He definitely brings power and grit to his fights. He's only lost against Joshua and Povetkin, I believe, in that upset. But let's face it, like, Dillian Whyte is most likely fighting Fury after his fight against Wallin, if he beats Wallin, which I think he will beat Wallin, to be honest. Because Dillian Whyte is just active. He's just active all the time. He fights every 3 or 4 months. Like, he stays active. Like, this is what, like, some of the top heavyweights don't do, is remain active. Like Joshua, Wilder, Fury, they fight like once a year. And then they just like do nothing. They train, obviously, but fighting is different to training, obviously. But obviously, since Dillian was more gung-ho, ready to fight, he was more likely to lose, and he just got caught against Povetkin. Shit like this happens in the heavyweight division. And Wilder, arguably the most dangerous of the lot, he could be in the champs of the division after the performance he put on against Fury. Got beaten in the 11th round, but he was still knocking Fury when he had wobbly legs. The Bronze Bomber with 42 wins, I believe. 1 draw and 1 loss. No. 1 draw, 2 losses now. I think he has like some stupid percentage of a KO. I think it's like 93% likely to get a KO. He's definitely one of the most dangerous heavyweights just because of his power. He's got bursts of athleticism as well. He just bursts of power. He's not the best boxer by any means. I believe he's probably one of the worst technical boxers on this list. But it's that power and that size that he has. He has good size. And it's just a menace. Like, no one in here is going to have an amazing fight against him. The only one that ever did was Fury in the second fight. And even then, in this fight, he's come out to fight him again, and he took him to the 11th round. Like, I believe Tyson Fury's hardest fight was probably going to be Wilder. I don't think Joshua could replicate that same amount of stress that Fury probably felt getting hit by that. I just don't think Joshua's power is the same as Wilder's power. I think Wilder has the single greatest KO punch in this current roster at the moment. Personally, I think it should be Wilder versus Joshua and Dillian Whyte versus Fury. And maybe Usyk. I don't know. I don't really know, because obviously people want Usyk versus Fury. I don't really want Usyk versus Joshua again, because I just don't think much will change. But I think Wilder versus Joshua, that fight should have happened a long time ago. Even Wilder versus Dillian Whyte, I don't think Dillian Whyte would win, but I'm sure it would be a good fight. But I believe Dillian Whyte versus Tyson Fury is definitely more likely than Dillian Whyte versus Wilder, only because I believe he's a contender for the WBC. So that should be a fight after the Otto fight. It should be anyway. This is my list. I don't know what all of you think, but let me know down in the comments if there's anything different, you change anything. These aren't like, if I had to put them, I'd probably put Parker ahead of Ruiz. Chisora, I don't know, I could go either or with these two. I'm going to put Povetkin ahead of these two. And Joyce and Otto. Wilder. I'm going to put Wilder above these two only because that KO power is a menace, and I'm going to put Tyson above Usyk just because of his size. On that note, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later.